Captain's log, stardate 80803.11. August 3rd, 2404. The Starship Jason David Frank is on a mission to the Pinisar system, where the Andover planet Far Out resides. Due to the unusual nature of the planet, and renewed hostilities with the Dominion, the TMS people have returned there. Starfleet asked for us to intercept and confirm. I've asked for some of the former students to assist, including a relation of mine who goes way back.
It's Pat. Well, you always wanted to say that.
Yep. Hi, Dad.
We were expecting you.
I gathered. The concept will not miss me for a few days.
How long has it been, sister?
Bruh, it's been like 5 years since that time in 2018.
Time is of the essence, my children. Come to the briefing room. The others from the Slayers are here.
This is problematic. All right, let's get going. I trust you'll keep them a surprise.
I am Captain Ryan Beld, also called Patrick Talisman. Welcome aboard the Jason David Frank. Starfleet lent us the ship for the mission, as the Martial Sportiest people would not expect a ship named after a Power Ranger.
The Green Ranger, White Ranger, as I recall.
And it is funny because TMS did deal with them back in the day, and West Coast Taekwondo Karate too.
You could be in a lot of legal trouble just coming out here, Miriam Follett. Little one, how are you?
Just peachy. I believe you also know Slayer.
I do, but I assumed all these years you were Cal Hazel.
He merely trained with me, ma'am. I made it to manager there and married Julia. Hi, Sandra.
Hello, Sandra. I am Jodie Follett. You were Jodie? I had only some clues. Kid play was one.
Why do they keep shape-shifting and stuff?
I adopted her after Catherine died.
Sandra Talisman. I switched sides in 2016, and I'm here to help. Jammer. You know him.
He's the mole? Oh, that's rich. He's the other manager. Oh, my.
I am the best manager they ever had during the Milpitas years. Even they admit that. Then why did you turn on them? They went too far, and so I quit. I knew it was a cult for decades, responsible for letting it happen. Now that it's gone underground, no point in hiding, eh? The planet has Cillians like us, whereas they made some changes. Sandra should like this. Legal ones, as they wanted to release a tell-all and didn't want to get sued. Let's call them the Hazel family. They went on to have different platforms on the net, following some of them being part of the school and part-time in the cult. They were not, however, Slayer or Kitty.
Then the Spike family, heavily involved in the cult, the company, and the school, but gone by 1998.
Some reappearances happened. The Slayer family, as we called them, that was formerly part of the cult, had left in 1998 also. Well, except one, who changed his name and worked for the company up until at least the mid-2000s. Allegedly, one of them went to war and was killed.
That is not relevant.
The Cinders family, as we'll call them, were instructors. The wife had been a prolific blogger and PR person for the Guru. Then the Talismans, that's us, were broken up and later merged with the Saltines by marriage. The Talisman children, however, did not like this and later rebelled. The Joyful family and the Harvestman family were often confused. That is not their last name. Then the Tomat family were also high in the cult and knew of everything, like Saltine and Cinders, and were part of everything. The Kitty family would appear as different and unrelated families in the COL and other roles. At no point were they ever Hazel, except for 2010 to 2011. Then they stopped posting.
The Follett family was also unrelated families, and some related as renamed. All names have changed. Most of it are out. The cult is no more.
This is what I have figured from reading the sportiest parts of the On-Location saga by Hazel. The Sportiest is the code name for the school, Young Sportiest, but it will remain on the ship. Understood. He only worked briefly at LWS, though. Well, part-time as an instructor, and in COL. I knew of the guys blaming for the incident in 1997.
He was there until 2008. Yes, the 10-year-old blogs about the College of Loonies cult on the bullshit. Oh, that's a very famous guests from the cult. And then 35 angry ones in the beginning, which rose to thousands. But Gabriel Aghini may have never actually appeared there.
The bullshit stopped around 2015, and there had been just a few comments since. A good run, though. Over 4,000 entries. One site claimed we were the largest internet thread on the site for some years until 2017.
In 2011, we caught up with the real Gabriel Igini through a mutual friend, who suggested Kid Fillet Girly could go back to the cult as a mole for us. But he did not say this.
He was never actually there posting.
It is speculated he was on Cult Member also, and arranged for it to fall in 2007, but that was likely Yeoman, the interested party in the background then. Even though the false Gabriel Igini claimed he was there and called the cast Adamites and insulted him on company time, there's no evidence he was actually posting there. But they did know about the patent case, the divorce cases, and other goings-on in 2007. He was in those. Gabriel Igini was never on Bullshido at all. Now that it is so much later, years since the case, it is likely he could be out there.
Our connection from long ago had dried up until now. But we got back with the guy through another, and he said there was no way Gabriel Igini posted on Bullshido.
That is interesting, because everyone was so convinced he was there somewhere, even in COL. But he never was.
Prepare the landing party.
So, Jody, hi Sandra. Well, the rumors about you and Kitty Key being intimate in 2007, were they true? Let's just say I was 18 and leave it at that, Captain. I always wanted to get with him, but it never worked out. We did have chemistry. I heard about romance class from my stepmother. It must have been hilarious. That's nightmare fuel, kid. Glad there's no video of that. Trust me, you don't want to see it. I heard that you and Kitty Key had chemistry during that, and Grandmaster stopped it. Now who's spreading rumors? Yes, we did. I thought you didn't swing that way anyway. Sometimes I do. I'm an entertainer, so... C'est la vie. You are truly a legend, Sandra Talisman. Thank you, Ensign. Let's get to the mission.
This planet is one of 2 planets with a crashed Borg ship on the surface. This was the first in 2008, and the other was Arcadia or Coppelius in 2019. But this is not connected. What do you make of it?
It's a mock-up of the Academy, the TMS one in Milpitas, morphed with the San Jose and Fremont ones. You're Julia. I'm Julia. I married Mr. D. City of Light. Not a reference to the Netflix show, but a reference to the other word for COL, predating the show by decades. Original concept was created in roughly 1990. The show is from 2019.
DMCA compliant. This is considered a parody.
Right. Parody. Not an expose. The Kyung-Yi Kim show never returned in 2012. Ex-It Gal for Kyung-Yi Kim in 2012 or so comments on the failure to relaunch the show. Upon doing some surfing and some research, which should make y'all gasp for breath, the site mod has obtained really nothing new on Kyung-Yi Kim's show. The alleged successful 2006 blog show on YouTube or the relaunch in 2012. You all have never heard of the show. Well, that's because it never actually aired. The 2012 relaunch was going to be grand, with a posh studio set looking out into a neon blue dream like nice ornate pink red couches and fine-looking wood, and faux windows looking out like The Tonight Show, like vistas.
Except it was all a scam. The show never saw the light of day or even a minute of footage. What was allowed to air online in 2006 through the years was the stuff for the guests of the old show permitted to have aired.
You will not find this new show, because it doesn't exist. If they had a new show, they would have aired it, at least put up some new videos from it. Interviewing people, nothing exists. Newer blogs have appeared since the claiming the show is right around the corner. But when you look back at these blogs and the sources and the posh set, it's all back in 2012. I always thought the show could have worked with the right advertising, but Kimmy was not about to let her talented underlings run the show and make it work.
It seems odd if you're trying to make a name for your show. So I think it was all a scam.
I never saw the completed show either, and I recall that set. It was packed away somewhere after it fell apart. And funding dried up with a bankruptcy they do not dare mention. The original show aired in the 1990s on public access government channels in the Bay Area, and was picked up as a clip on the Expose tabloid Inside Edition. Is Martial Sportiest a cult? Article from 1998.
The actual show videotaped 22 episodes, only half of which aired, and only a handful of the same are heavily cut but aired. One season is hardly a successful show. Also, public access is paid for by donation, or the studio, and is therefore does not make money. That is why in 2012 there was actually no comeback. Wasn't that the year the world ended? Yeah.
It took some digging on blogs, but the prolific poster for the cult, who we'll call by her old name Karen, claimed that her parents had practically disowned her and rejected her awards and didn't appreciate her. In old blogs from years ago on Bullshido and newer blogs from 2012 and 2014, it's the same story. She's been fed the story and it isn't true. Like Dr. Kim, the other Kim, of no biological relation. She has a wild imagination and knows what she's doing.
So it isn't just brainwashing from being a cult. Some of it is.
We happen to have found her relatives' blogs, and yeah, they post too. It turns out that they're worried about her and know she's in a cult. They've been trying to get her out of there for years. They found the site about the piano lesson and were distraught at that. Not just because it didn't happen that way, but that Karen tends to think movies are real and turns stories into reality. It is true she didn't know the piano was a stringed instrument. Ha! Hard to believe she never looked inside one.
It is false that they never attended her recitals and lessons, right? They were there, and they did congratulate her on one of them.
They think Dr. Kim retrained her to dislike her parents and not appreciate them.
One of her other relatives, possibly a sibling, complained that the reason she might gripe to this day is she didn't really win any awards for playing piano.
She was average to good at piano, but she was pretty good at compiling songbooks. She was kind of a bossy child, and it makes sense she'd become a martial arts instructor. Well, they liked that idea, but not that it was a cult. Allegedly, she was a terrible teacher of small children. As a coach, she was better. The parents did indeed think it a clever idea. She changed to martial arts. The reason they were not there at the first black belt testing was a family issue that had come up, and there was no way for them to fly out to California to see it.
Karen thinks they just didn't want to see it. She's either confused or lying. They wouldn't go.
Karen claims that her marriage to the third highest ranked instructor was not arranged. She is flat out lying. Her parents did arrange it with Dr. Kim and the man. The parents gave their blessing, reluctantly, but only because it was a cult, not because it was not proper. They arranged it. The trophies she claimed were broken were not broken on purpose.
Maybe they were damaged in storage by Karen herself for improperly storing them.
She couldn't blame herself, so it became someone else's doing. She needs to continue her medication, they advised, and not be in the cult. Now come on, we have no proof Karen needed medication.
She claims that she never discussed the bad Bullshido Thrid students, and never went on about the bad-mouthing. But she did.
She was really mad many times in the past years, directly related to the ex-students. It could be Karen is overstating her parental issues. Actually, she respects her, and they do think she's just in a bad place. More to the point about testing, since I was there, she claimed about the parents not showing up, but her relative did send someone in their stead, who was there and congratulated her. She was all moody and soon forgot that. We are Karenus of Terminator of the Borg. We were once the TMS master called Karen Kim. Your resistance here is futile. Jammer Joe is now our prisoner.
She's assimilated, but it didn't take. Phaser stun. Fire.
According to an anonymous ex-College of Loonies cult member, she was conceived as the result of a lover's tryst on one of the self-discovery weekend retreats of the school in about 1989. Phaser attack.
Jammer's gone, and we don't know where. The phasers are ineffective. Ceasefire.
She only recently discovered this when she had asked her mother about COL, which she too had later been in, and wanted to know why her parents divorced.
She's confused. The other Slayer did that. I was just a boy, and I wasn't even training.
She knows she's just trying to goad us. It had been so long that her mother told her the truth. She was apparently cheating on her husband with some of the fellow students, and had sex with at least 2 of them on her lovers on the retreat.
What the hell?
It is I, as are we, and we are one with the collective. Resist us, and it will be futile. I did not have my powers, but as a bored I have powers I could only dream of. From one cult to another, mother. I am not here to fight my former mate, or my offspring.
She is here to back Karen up. As usual, you two should get a room.
Yes, Miriam Follett honestly didn't know which one was the father, until the girl got a little older. She assumed she had bedded the senior student, who she meant to rook, like how the other senior COL lady had done it, but she had the wrong man. Yes, all those years, the girl now grown assumed the baby daddy was the instructor in training, but actually it turned out that he was some junior student who happened to get into the festivities of their little tent party. But actually it explained a whole lot about her, and who she was, and she did a face palm. Yeah, that guy had to be the real daddy. She is just trying to get us to fight her, which would then give her a chance to touch us and assimilate us. They never did a DNA test, and it's not likely that if they did, given there was nothing criminal, all the participants were of legal age.
You liars, that didn't happen.
Well, almost 30 years later, the mom can't ask for alimony. Adultery aside, it's a messed up story. The phasers have no effect and we can't punch them. They have shields.
We're being herded. Stay sharp. Stay ready. Lol.
It made sense. It made perfect sense he was the father, and when she even sparred with him back in the day, they had this weird feeling between them, and it never was said directly. The mother had become an instructor before the baby daddy. The doctor had grown into a young adult by the time he left as an instructor eventually, and she also had become one. The hilarious realization happened later in the shopping mall when Daddy met Daughter, like something out of this dumb Maury shows, and they knew, oh man, how did this happen? All hearsay. She wasn't there. Even if something like that did happen, it would have led to several lectures and hissy fits, so odds are it didn't. Well, kid, there was this weekend, and the dad was back then, was barely 18, and the mom was probably 26, so it's not that much different. What's funny is the epiphany when they knew what happened. The mom thought she was getting lucky with the hot nubile instructor trainer guy, but actually it was the sloppy seconds from the young man potent spunk that did it. It would appear from speculation that due to the overheated training of the older man, his sperm just wasn't up to the task. Fooling around got the mom divorced and with child. That makes no sense. I never had sex on the self-discovery retreat. Come on. Older child grew up and discovered about the real daddy, but was actually there all along, until he left in the early part of the new millennium. Back in the middle 1990s, there was at least 2 COL students busted for looking at adult content, porn that is, of some form.
At the time, this was not on the internet, as it was not in use widely back then.
No, it was a magazine, although some sort of porn. Although Bullshido covered this story a decade back, it is interesting to note that the source of the porn was an instructor who was not really trying to make an object lesson, but was trying to get him into trouble. Angelica here really doesn't have any new information. You see, in COL at the time of the height of the cult behavior, they had teenagers living in the COL houses like compounds. Kim was concerned they might have sex, so she wanted some of them to be taught not to have sex, in her own way. They had to get foreknowledge, though, of their intentions. So, they had everyone keep a journal. To use the journals to tailor class or against dissension. She would then use the journals as lessons in class, and humiliated one such student in class on at least 2 occasions, until he was again made to suffer in an actual non-COL class, in front of everyone. This is cribbed from a cult member article over Chica, but heavily edited. We have been over the journals before, but this is not about them specifically. I would deliberately put weird stuff in mine. I did not think Julia trained for that long. I happen to know of this person today, through Julia, and also one of the ex-instructors who are now out, and were willing to completely riff on the story. I take it your brother Michael is not here. He only trained up to yellow belt.
No, he's in the funny part. The Xers indicated what I also thought.
It was not an object lesson, it was a setup from the start. The instructor who had the magazine was dating the boy's mother, and wanted to objectify their relationship. It was not the boy who posts on Bullshido at Cult Member, but a friend of his. This is cribbed from the JH article on Bullshido from 2007. The instructors got to date whoever they liked at COL. We students of the time were not allowed to date other students unless Kim gave permission. I was paired with one of them briefly, but it didn't work out. Screw romancercise. I will have my own spandex disco yoga suits, and my own mates, thank you very much. Again, this is cribbed from Bullshido, nothing to see here. Come, Karen, we return to the great Grandmaster Dr. Kim and report. Long live COL.
How did we get here?
It's like a holodeck. We're still in the academy.
Well, that was a strange one. Those 2 will be back. Anyway, Julie and I got to meet with the Xers recently, and we're very interested in setting it straight.
It was all very confusing, you know, because of how reclusive and sneaky the COL members were, and freaking manipulative.
So this guy is dating the mother of the boy, and it's really awkward, and he's having trouble in school because she's kind of a schooling-type dictator to him. But also, school is weird because he's in COL.
Think of it. You don't go home. You go to the COL house and live there, and your only friends are COL people, and you train all the time. Sounds fun. Not. This is not Evan from Bullshidos. Quit pretending you are.
So back then, the mother is older than me. This isn't creepy enough, and my daughter's training also. But it's quite younger than he is, and he's no idea what all this fuss is about. One day, and then another day, then another, she gets to hear the stupid humiliation in class. She's a young grade school, but homeschooled.
Different humiliations, but not to me. It was Mom and other COL people, and since many have addressed, I was never in. She had no idea what was happening. It freaked her the heck out. The boy who did this and Evan are two different students.
Anyway, so we stayed in COL and took the bull stories, and believed them for years.
What?
That is, until the very interesting reveal recently. Well, hello, stranger.
WM. Wendy McKinley. I often confused all the fake names for the real ones. JH, for instance, two different people. Confusing the JHs as there were a mother and the other was a boy. This fabrication is now confusing the Angelicas, also, as if it were there at the same time.
I thought for sure she would get snatched up and put into a van and never appear again. But no, it was not like some horror movie or a bad news report. It was bizarre.
Is it the mom JH talking? She wasn't at the meeting.
So the boy is obviously now a man and he's at the store. He thinks he knows of Jules from somewhere. And she tells him. COL.
And he goes a little paranoid and hopes she's still not in. She assured him no, not since 2015. The JH, Evan on Bullshito, was the man, not the boy from before. Nor was he at the meeting.
The man then figures, well, she's not me, as that's impossible. But
yes, that's her, although she does not recall much about her being kicked out, especially herself. He tells her what happened. The man was just Michael. He's not either boy.
Then they happen to later run into an ex-instructor who was jogging along with his little dog.
He lived in the same area as not uncommon. He reports that he has not been training there since 2006.
That isn't what happened. He's the instructor. The details are wrong.
Over a latte, they discuss the matter of their mutual misgivings. The coffee shop was called Pete's, but the details are completely wrong.
Jules had left because she had been involved in a scandal blog they created as damage control, but it became scandalous. And she had a boyfriend they didn't approve of at over 21. Why did they give a care? So Clarity and Michael and I had a meeting.
I only saw Michael.
Now the instructor did not have such a shocking final story.
It makes it sound more interesting than it really was. It really wasn't. It cost too much.
What he did have was an earnest and apologetic response to the former boy.
He recalled the incident he had, and that Kim was totally out of line and should never have done that. But he couldn't stop it. He revealed that she was just being mean and wanted no horny students. It was hypocrisy. She allowed herself to be involved with some of her male instructors. The boy was not shocked. He'd been on Bullshito. Michael would not have even known the boy who looked at porn. I admit he could not have, and spread the rumors then. This is weird. This place is making us go on about it now.
So the former teen student also revealed what magazine it was. Who gave it to him? None other than his own mom's then boyfriend. And it wasn't the first time that there's been men chuckling about dirty pictures.
Wrong, kids. JH was not here. It was also not JH. It was not MH either.
COL was lame. The older instructors told them. And that had been a cult. And monitoring the journals and using them against people is a way for a cult to keep operating.
It wasn't wrong for a teenage boy to be curious about a nude magazine, any more than it would be for any other boy. It was stupid to be called out for that.
The young man nor the former instructor would ever retaliate for the injustices done to them, the cult. And nothing weird became of their leaving.
The shocking magazine never turned the boy into a psycho or anything. He ended up all right. True that there were 2 men at that shop, but there was no Julia.
The magazine in question wasn't the issue, but rather the 3 B ratings Kim ordered on this poor kid and what his mom didn't do to stop it.
She did nothing because she was dating another instructor and was kind of weird. Angela wasn't there.
In the end, the last word was a comment about a cute little dog peeing on a fern, which reminded Jules of COL peeing in the wind.
I did not own a dog. If Kim had done that to my kid, she would have gotten it from me. Sure. Michael doesn't have children.
I got you. I know exactly where you are. This place is my test for you, huh?
And she's the bastard child of 2 students messing around. Make her see it.
I can't make them do anything. I can only make them discuss the nature of this place, as the Captera has given me Cillian holodeck powers.
Hey, he was on the Miriam planet. The rumor that was cut and pasted from the internet after being on for a few days appears to have originated from a bitter College of Looney student who was sure that me or my friend must have been conceived on the retreat, lest we know so much about it. I'm not saying your mom's a hoe. I'm saying she's a slut. This is also designed to somehow defame or humiliate my mother, which is hilariously tacky, which is why I printed the original, but not my snarky original email reply or hers. Karen clearly wanted to tick us both off, and published it on the email of Michael, one of the posters, and also make me freak out. Defamation in this case would be complicated to prove, being you've both done actual malice in your posts. It would probably never make it to trial. I would know. Besides, Karen is just salty about us making fun of her piano-playing incident. Hardly worth making up stories. And no, I never did it with a guy who claimed I did it with. Karen be jelly, Karen be cray-cray.
He was merely amused that you would stoop to such a level. I wasn't surprised. They were going to go there.
Confusing me or my friend for one of the children born about 1989 at YSN, and at the same time as a retreat, is silly on them, not to mention messed up. I knew full well when the former instructor came into the shop, where I used to work, that we weren't going to talk shop about COL, and there was nothing mentioned about it, nor any conspiracy or any embarrassing looks.
Oh, I young saw. This is typical of them, posting as several people to annoy us ex-students, and then disappearing into the night.
Jody was not conceived on the weekend, or born as a result of adultery on a weekend. I was. I wonder what kind of dirty mind thought it up, but it was funny. Sad and funny. Simpler words to COL, for an extra who knew Julia personally.
Clarity. You're there to back them up after what you did.
Something's odd about her, if it is her. Hi there, Jody. I remember you from long ago. You did that? How dare you? What a low thing to do. I don't know if your watchdog friend sent word yet, but I can drop a line to the press if they keep posting this stupid stuff. I might even drop them a line and give my 2 cents.
You walk a thin line, young one.
I know that many former students and cult members are told to hush up or be sued, and have stopped posting, and some of them have even been sent spam letters in illegal court cases, and other fraud stuff.
You cannot betray the master. She's a goddess.
They can't just let it go, can they? I know. They still think I posted on Bullshito and cult member and started all that stuff, which is impossible for one person.
I never saw her credentials, but she pretended to have them in the past. Clarity is onto something.
This is still funny looking back on it, and equal parts sad. She can't let it go, so we Xers won't let it go. Not until she comes clean and stops making this up. I even heard she tried to destroy an ex-student's marriage, after he'd been gone for years, only to discover he wasn't the guy and she wasn't his wife. She did this to another ex-student, a pal of mine, actually, who wasn't on Bullshito either. A fake divorce summons. I got one too. Yuck! They thought I was with a geenie in it. Ew! Not after Kimmy was with him. I would never. He was damaged goods.
You take that back.
I also know she fired a lot of people, and Medford's a mess. You are defying the game, and we'll break the test. You always cheat.
She got in trouble about the speaking engagements and took many of those sites down. It seems that companies are starting to wise up and don't want to be associated with her.
She also claimed that some student relationships in recent class were broken up due to the internet, because she can't just ignore stupid stuff online about her and make other people feel bad about themselves instead of turning her ire inward. In the end, the former students have completely won, and that bothers COL to no end. They have made it a guessing game for new students and employees.
Ever since she had a fake knighthood and started making those weird Young Saw Nation demo videos, I've kept an eye on her.
The ranks are paranoid now, thinking the students are still after them, when they should stick to training and not be worrying about that. If they're honest, it will show, but if they're not, so it won't. In the end, the one school will fade into memory.
She will have her fame, but not about what she wanted. It's infamy. Indeed, she will learn from this lesson.
Karen, take clarity. Transform away. Very well. Energize.
Perhaps this will convince you of your foolishness.
It has been a very slow news month, so when the alias called Sarang Bitter returned to a private email, I discovered that she was a she all this time, and claimed on Bullshito to be a man. That was to hide her identity.
I knew of her during the making of the 80s promo tapes sold to students called Wave the Warrior. She had a cameo. I am Arthur. I did too. She was one of the instructors from Vermont who went on to California. She was part of ATC and later posted as others elsewhere.
My ex-husband is not to be trusted.
Saurung Bitter, this person is roughly the same age as Kim, the great grandmaster, and reveals that it was her name she copied when changing hers to Kyungye to Kyungyi.
She was later said to have been a jealous betrayer and that she had a crush on the guru. She did not. She just protested some of their political ties and business acquisitions at the time. This person trained alongside Kim and knows many key things. She said that although she was a good student, she was no way great or better than any other students.
The true story of the Howard Johnson bathroom work was community service after she nearly killed someone in a car accident in Vermont.
According to court records, that's what happened. Kyung-ae is a clever one and will use any means to be popular, any at all.
After attaining Master Belt, Kim never sparred again. Not because she couldn't, but because she was above everyone else now. So when you Sewell folks thought that it really was a magical, enlightening experience on that mountain retreat that cost you so much, and it really was spiritually uplifting, it wasn't actually spiritual. You're going to say it was chemical. According to a source once deep inside the cult, and another slightly less disgruntled, and a third very annoyed one about all things spiritual, the cult used drugs to make the students relax and experience the samtong, the sweat tent room, and the fireside chanting. Bibi is not a reliable source.
Arthur Follett did not train there long enough. Was not there on the retreats.
It's filet, it's French. I keep telling you that. The odd thing was the most disgruntled ex-student was contacted was not mad about the drugs. He actually got them some of the stuff. He was mad that he did not get paid enough. It turned out that some of the stuff was just pot. They used the other stuff in the food, which had a similar effect, and also spiked the sweat tent room.
Oh, big-time drugs. Oh, pot. Come on.
One of the former students was a woman who had to be pulled from the tent when she freaked out, actually, and it turned out that this is because she had a reaction to the psychedelic stuff put into the steam.
And the other students didn't because they were either used to it or just didn't react to chemicals. That lady was just afraid of the dark and was also already crazy, so anything could have set her off, according to a real source who was there, called Ronan.
They didn't include anything seriously potent, so there were some students quite familiar with drugs on those trips, and would have known, so they used mostly THC and some mushrooms.
They did not use LSD or anything hard. You made that up.
In order to mask the smell of it being marijuana, they didn't just toss leaves into the fire, but used extracts and other compounds that would not get off the smell.
What are you actually talking about, Arthur?
Although it would be funny if they did drugs on the SDW, I know they did not. I was at some of them. No, it was all in their heads. The food was not dosed or laced. The mind is just easily influenced. Alcohol was also used, but not for cooking. They don't do the retreats anymore because it was allegedly too expensive, and people stopped going. No, it's because they got caught.
That's funny.
Back in 1997, during one of Kim's freakout sessions, on something, she threatened to castrate some of her male COL students. She has a drug problem, or at least did then. They covered that up, but it was outed on Bullshito in 2005.
Prescription drugs, maybe, but there's no proof.
Nowadays, though, she is medically not well, so she probably takes certain medications to relax and not have pain, which is fine.
It's still hearsay. These retreats were actually kind of sinister, as it turns out.
Operation Komodo Dragon was a damage control site orchestrated by top COL PR people in 2012 to confront and disprove the bad press circulating about them from such aggregate websites as Bullshito and some unmentioned WordPress and Google sites.
Instructors would deny having anything to do with the supposed slight against the ex-students, and it has never been proven it was them.
The Frog and Scorpion were just YSN students asked by an instructor to spy on the Xers. It also seemed crazy to even try that. It would make them all look foolish.
No evidence beyond Bullshito was ever presented figuring anyone beyond that one, Clarity, Angelica, or Blackie, who wasn't even a student.
So the damage control eventually did nothing to forward the cult, but certainly made them some new subscribers over the years.
They did not. That's unlikely.
Part of the damage control, which was hatched later in 2012, was to make it look like Kim was being bullied so that people would feel sorry for her and draw more youth channels and make the people believe her story.
Well, it was like when they used to hold parties and would come and complain about her parents to get attention and sympathy. She asked, "Can we do this online somehow?" And we said, "Sure. We can do that online and make it look like she has an underdog who rose above, and you will have a lot of great publicity.
No, this plan is silly. It did work for a while. You aren't that clever.
Secretly, we would never respond to the negative press, and would make up new press that seemed to work. That is not proven.
What they didn't plan for was that the younger people were more net savvy, and had been playing the game, and had determined that it was wrong to make up a fake lie channel to make Kim look good through bad press.
The YSN spies were only a few and not serious, and this is blown way out of proportion.
Archives were backed up, and one still remains. They fired all but 2 or 3 of the originals, but kept the lady in charge and her lover.
They only had 2 originals. We refused to spy for them and came out here. The adults would spend whole COL classes worried about what those fired students might do to them. Kim would rant on the phone or in class about it not working. Yeah, they did fret about that. In 2014, they even rehired Julia to return via the out-of-state site, to monitor and work for them, to clean up the site, as though it was a legitimate site now. Well, that's not true. She keeps up a site connected to the old BS people, and continues to post.
Kit Filet Girly was the site Julia ran, but it was closed from her during the 2011 purge, before OKD.
No, that was me. Quit pretending to be me.
It could be that COL just wanted to have it all, and could not stand up to social justice. They knew they created it.
No, YSN created it, but under the table, and it was not sanctioned by Michael or Angelica. You're confusing the Angelicas.
We must go to discuss this.
I want to follow them and see where they're going.
We have no sign of Jammer, Karen, Cinders, or Clarity. Sensors are offline, so we can't even look for them.
Maybe he can help.
You are as radiant as ever, my friend.
That's what my husband would say.
You aren't married to a man. I know you.
How can you tell that?
I can. We have a connection, so how's class?
Am I missing something? Remember those 2 ET students that had too much chemistry in the romance class? Yes. No, really? It was actually a little demented, because they weren't supposed to. Nothing happened between us then. I was too young. He knew that.
Ah, but then when you weren't.
Ah, yes, the sparring session later. When I was old enough, I kicked your ass.
I let you kick my ass.
Sure you did. Didn't we have him when I became old enough? Oh my god, my ex. This planet is horrible. Oh, mine too. Hopefully not mine too, especially after I found out about him and Mom. Yeah. Oh my, this planet is messed up. Oh god, you are my ex. This planet is horrible. He has a lot of exes, but no, he was a gentleman. A little out of touch socially, but he never approached me before I was of age. Don't worry, nothing like that. I would recall that. But you didn't come here to talk about us, did you?
No, I did not. Here is what really happened at Pete's Coffee in Milpitas in late January 2017. The former student and junior belt of the cult went into the coffee shop, acting spaced out, and saw me there. He looked worried that I might notice him. It turned out that he'd forgotten that I'd long since left the cult, and that I knew nothing about their current goings-on.
Angelica Talisman was just here.
I have not seen her in many years. Not to be confused with another Angelica who I also have not seen in many years. Not a yes, she's still there.
I was there with my brother Michael. He began rambling about training and about Julia, and I asked him who that was, and he was cryptic and went pale.
I knew he knew an Angelica, though, and suggested he meant her. He did not. It is possible that some student I do not know was named Julia by COL, in honor of JH's mom, perhaps. Then later on, while having a coffee, he was babbling about a meeting of former students that was going on to reunite about some haters on the websites. And then he left. He said nothing more.
Oh, I wish I'd been there for that. Nerds exchanging computer parts. So much fun. Not.
Keep in mind, I was the instructor once, but he was not. And not a boy who had a magazine. He must have gone mad or something. She was not there.
Kitty Key denies seeing Michael at the Pete's Coffee Shop during a blog post under his real name, and I'm not linking to it to give him traffic either.
So some one of these was dating Michael, the brother.
Unrelated to that, my word pressing site denied it also, as for different reasons. Expatriate and former friend Michael is making stuff up. If anything, there was no meeting at all, and he was just trying to make himself popular again, like he did with OKD, what I was not paid for, and would deny any involvement except I was. Quit the stuff. Okay, spill it. Operation Komodo Dragon, all of it. This is the anonymous figurehead of the original OKD site who has decided to write you about this Michael business. First of all, this person never worked for me. I have an idea who this is, but I'm just guessing, and will not out him. I will say he's more than he seems, and knows more than he lets on, but never worked for Kim or for me. No, he was getting paid, but he never worked for me either. It had a staff, volunteers mostly, guided by the dislike of the COL side, and not some kind of cleaning house for reporting them. It started out to make Cult Master a thing again, and to spread the word about the cult, and it succeeded. It was never on the side of COL.
I actually hadn't been in the loop since 2009, but they did the site based on other former student testimonials.
I did not know who Kitfilet was. I am Kitfilet. Oh crap, really? Oh wow, I'm Lighthouse Girl. I know, you might be using my name, but I have no idea who this person was. You're right about name confusion, that many names were swapped in the cult, because it was a cult. You're wrong about the rest. I don't think either JH has ever contacted you, or any of their families. You've been had by a likely present COL student, who is using you not to disrupt other students, but to make confusion. Ignore them even if it makes you have less traffic. Best to not let them, or encourage them to have an interest in your website. You're right, though, about the Angelas not having any ongoing contact with you or us since 2011.
HoloCat posted as Kitty Key, stopped posting in 2011 and never returned.
Others have pretended to be him, even some former black belts, but they're not him. I don't think anybody at TMS was ever named Kitty Key.
I think you've been tricked there, too.
Operation Komodo Dragon was the site Cult Slayers took over for, not what the YSN site had been called. That was called Operation Frog and Scorpion. It was designed to have damage control against the cult members, but it got a conscience and turned on the cult. Although it was misleading as I did not return there in 2015, that was someone else.
All humans have souls, and all humans are and can be energetic, but that does not mean that you have a mythical superpower that can make energy balls out of your hands like a cartoon anime hamster. The mind is powerful. Your thoughts create your reality. And here it's literal sometimes. That light you saw staring at a candle, or those floaty things, or that odd glow on some things, it's all in your eyes. It's not an aura.
The guru is not a key energy master because she made it up and pretending to have mythical powers like a super ninja.
Anyone can think and visualize something and do it. That does not mean you're a space ninja. Do not look into the sun ever. If someone tells you to stare at the sun, he's an idiot. If the guru tells you to look into the sun, don't do it. Anyone can visualize something, but not that. It makes you an idiot. Your guru does not have the power and cannot knock down opponents with his dragon ninja balls. Although balls are exceptionally funny in that context and ironic, considering the old guru was a woman. Mostly the women trained us, though, but the women can be more deadly than the men. Do not mess with those ninja key energy hand pushes. Or do, because they're staged. Breaking the bottom out of a bottle is a parlor trick. Keep all you like. Tiny guru knocks down 200 lib dude. But it's staged.
For a fee, you can learn about the key energy.
Do not join a cult. They sometimes use the mythical power of suggestion and make people give them a lot of money.
I did not say I wouldn't publish anything, just not directly about the cult.
Hello, I am Norman Fillet, brother of Michael. In 2010, it appears that there was part of Frog and Scorpion, former allies of the COL cult, got into Kitty Key's files and took some of them to copy his style and events, pretending to be him, and then defame him on Bullshido, where he posted about Kyungi Kim.
They did. That seems unlikely.
But in 2010 on the Bullshido site, it was suggested that the poster Kitty Key had been hacked and his laptop files taken. Maybe there's a time-traveling Hunter Biden who has the files in the future. That joke won't age well. This is what was allegedly on the thumb drive from months ago, the files which passed from the OKD people to the former students and Kitty Key eventually. They likely made copies.
Michael's twin brother. Yes, his twin brother and my brother.
In 2007, TMS abruptly fled San Jose. over a 3-day period, according to the journals. But Kitty was there for 2 of them. Took his belt and left, cancelling his membership on the final night. He was one of several students to leave.
To clear up some confusion, the TMS and COL people knew about Cult Member and MySpace as early as mid-2005.
They found out about the bullshito in 2006. Kitty knew about them all in 2005 and 2006, but didn't post until 2010. The other 3 Kitty Keys posted earlier as several aliases. Allegedly, I thought it all myself. Imagine that. You were never in COL. Explain that, sir. Kitty Key, not to be confused with Cal Hazel, was in part-time COL long before BS poster Claire was leaving COL, 1998 to 2001, and would have known him. Evan reportedly left in 2002, but Kitty stayed on part-time as a regular instructor student, and eventually got to second-degree black belt, before leaving in 2007. He did not technically return to COL during 2002 to 2007, but had been allowed to attend DT classes. Now he has his files back.
The drive was left at his meeting place in April 2017. It doesn't matter now, because Michael is dead.
Yes, our brother got the virus and died from an infection. You'd think it would have gone out differently. But that isn't why we're here. And these people are stalling, making us stay put while we discuss blog stories from years ago, as if they happened yesterday. Jammer is still missing. Cillian Space did not revive Michael. This is messed up. Hello, everyone. I am still here. Now I understand what the Grandmaster wanted.
This site is not going to be cancelled anytime soon, and will continue to cover the smoldering remains of the College of Loonies cult, as it might try to make a comeback, and will be there when they least expect it, to stop the cult's plans to resurface. If anyone in the cult claims we have ruined their relationship, we will assure them that this isn't possible, unless the relationships weren't very solid. My marriage was fine. We will not promise to stop under any coercion, as freedom of speech is still a thing. Is COL a cult? Yes, it is a cult. Maybe the Kim will make herself another fake self-awarded thing again. Who knows? And we'll find out and report it here. Last July, was it 2018, Bright House sought to move out of California entirely, going to Medford, Oregon, where their manufacturing is. This suggests several things, the largest being they have to sell off the mansion by the 300-acre site, and they're leaving and they can't hack it in California anymore. They have forced the store into 3 websites, as if it's something amazing, which it isn't. It's something showing they're giving up. LWS was the money-making computer company engine of the cult, College of Loonies, and of the martial arts school, Martial Sportiest, from 1998 to 2017.
The site lies. It started in 1988, not 1982. Check the old stories. LWS was just LA before 88.
These people are still overreaching for some kind of net news.
Their company is still small, barely international, and they still perform cult-like office practices. The deal might just mean that they're moving the cult and the school, and the company was last. No word on what became of Stargazer Estates from last June. Energy. Mathematics. I am called Carl Anderson. In late 2005, there was allegedly a palimony and fraud case against Gabriel Aghini, a former president of LWS under Kyung-yi. You see, Kyung-yi had been his common-law wife, but not legally. She sued him because he allegedly slept with another of her underbosses, then divorced Christina, who alleged that he never did. But then Kyung-yi had a jealous fit and had him fired, and her too. The case was mysteriously and quietly settled in May of 2008, but did not get out until August of that year. The undisclosed amount was merely his back paycheck. Well, that was for a number of reasons, as Kyung-yi and her group were becoming annoying to the lawyers, and spending a lot of money with the instructors, putting out bad press and trying to stop former students and employees from posting their own version of the events.
It was more than a paycheck thing, or even a palimony suit. It was a battery suit, too. An accusation against Aghini that never stuck.
Former students and employees, such as Ross, were part of the apartment where AG and KW lived, and they were witness to the event that disproved any sexual contact, and that Kyung-hee harassed the president constantly about his affairs when he wasn't actually having any. They tried to frame him and made up another patent thing, and that failed. The fraud charges in the case included use of funds and stolen product ideas, which were dismissed as bogus by April 2008, especially because many of these items were accounted for as clearly not something he would have purchased, or stolen, or could have.
Kitwall refused to go through with the battery charges, and it was revealed that Kimmy put her up to it. She was an ex-lover, too.
3 anonymous posters came to me to report this to me, but I will not reveal them. I will reveal them to you in print. It was not a settlement, but a case tossed out, because they had nothing. It never went to a jury court. It was being a gag order until 2014. One of the allegations concerned a restraining order, but no such order was given. Not wishing to perjure herself, Kyung-hee was urged to drop all the charges and pay up, because had it gone to trial, it would have been the end of her organization.
Carl had written to my late sister Catherine about this.
Now, this is one of the COL people so lauded in the site Bullshito about 8 years ago. I would like to clarify this for your site, once and for all. Some key points you might like that our COL was still a thing until this year, 2017, but didn't operate as a business and was under the table, so to speak. Kyung-hee has since sold her mansion and Bright House has moved to Medford, but the school on Albray is still there, being run by Thomat and La Palma. The infamous Gabriel Legini case took place in 2008, and there wasn't a gag order. They had no order because it was neither a settlement or a trial. I'm afraid your sources are just mistaken. The court record that used to be online is from one of the LWS people and was since removed, and so it's not a source.
An internal civil case is never going to appear in a public document on the internet. For those to be any mention of that is nonsense. It's a fake and fraudulent document. You should ignore it.
Here is what happened about 2006. I was there, although time and tide has changed, and some of my facts might be fuzzy. Had to think about it again. Kyung-hee forced the breakup of Gabriel Legini and Chris because they were working too closely together, and she got jealous. She assumed that there was a unsanctioned affair, which would be perfectly all right given Chris was divorced from Michael, and Gabriel Legini not legally married to anyone. Maybe his job, but not Kyung-hee. That is kinky, and I remember being shocked to have read it. The master sleeping with her own students. How moral is that? Kyung-hee started abusing her power in the 1990s as CEO of Lighthouse, quickly promoted some of her favorites, including Gabriel Legini, and then shipped them off to be leaders of the company, her company. Gabriel Legini, Chris, and Ross shared an apartment, but were workers there and were harassed by Kyung-hee and her people all the time. Ross is not key to the story, but she has most of the backstory posted long ago. Memory is not accurate on some events.
First, it seemed that secretly Kyung-hee was having an affair with Gabriel Legini at some point, but they were literally separated.
They were not secretly married. Kyung-hee had a paper made up that claimed they were, but it was not legal in any way. That she had no business being jealous about their previous relationship. It was a cult they were in, and she ran.
The truth is, she sent Gabriel Legini away to Medford because of his interest in other younger women. The position was his punishment, as she called it. But the fact that he made it to his opportunity shows better on him.
Kyung-hee wanted to control all relationships, so as also to be controlled, and like so many other male students in her school, company, and occult, many went overseas because of this punishment, to be assigned somewhere away from the women they liked even a little. Gross. This is so gross. It is a gross breach of trust and love for a master teacher to be sleeping with her students, even instructors. It's not pure energy. Kyung-hee did this, but not anymore, as the Bullshito guys speculated. She's too old. Not at this point anymore. Nobody's going to fall for her charms. She should show some dignity in her old age. She's nearly the age of her mother was when she passed. Here is exactly what happened on that fateful day in October 2008. A hearing was held not in a courthouse, but in a law office, of which documents were never put up online, where the case laid out before so many months. Kyung-yi was suing for contract infringement, and Chris suing for restraint. Those others included Morgan, Kevin, and Joe, who were suing for patent breach and for allegedly stealing and embezzling, and the like. All the charges were bogus, made up by COL insiders to a COL insider lawyer. Gabriel Leghini was countersuing for palimony, but could not because his marriage wasn't legal. Since none of this was on a legal court document, this all had been revealed. Even this lawyer worked for COL and could not make a case. In the first place, he advised they immediately drop it. This is not because of a money settlement. Kyung-yi had burned up over $2,000 on legal fees to try and screw Gabriel Leghini over. She wanted him to get screwed many times more than he was getting in their relationship. The disgusting display of legal fraud and wrangling did not sit well with the present opposition lawyer, Leghini's lawyer, who was also on advisement, and revealed a stack of documents and web traffic.
None of them proved Gabriel Leghini ever posted on the web, but Chris did, and all of COL instructors did. All of them defamed him.
So you can guess what that would have led to.
He planned that if it went to trial, it would turn into a public and humiliating defamation case, and Kyung-yi would lose.
All of the evidence pointed to broad-based harassment and cyber misconduct, hacking, and various other issues. She had used COL people on company time and hours to defame and wreck the lives of former students, especially Gabriel Leghini. Chris did not need to testify because, again, there was no trial and no settlement. She told the lawyer in the hearing, "I wish to withdraw my charges before I get into trouble." In the end, Kyung-yi got nothing, but Gabriel Leghini also got nothing. And that's why they called it off.
That war is over.
The ex-students often claimed, well, if she just hadn't gotten power-hungry, she could have made a difference, but I doubt this. She always was, and COL let her get away with it, because no one stopped it.
But then she would not have gone as far as she did.
Thank you for your consideration and apologies to those in the PR damage control site we did, and you mentioned. I will not be returning. Yeoman was Cinders the whole time. Not sure who the Cinders was. They had at least two people called that at the time. TS student was also Kitty Key, ergo Kate, and LWS girl was also Michelle. Cult member was never run by AG, but his ex, Christina. Cult member OK Dragon was entirely the work of Sack, my wife, and her little demo kids. Michael was secretly working both sides and is still until recently, but he's the other Michael, not Kate's brother. He is not to be trusted.
Scott had been one of the moles all along, playing both sides and siphoning off funds to offshore accounts that Kimmy didn't know about.
No, he wasn't. The computer company is and really was all along a front for a laundering scam, with several other scams running at the same time.
Bankruptcy stories in the 2010s were merely examples of how they got out of debt or tried to without success. The moles claimed the studio was gone, completely boarded up, and moved to Oregon.
The 2017 testing video was a ruse. It was cobbled together and heavily edited from other footage of the supposed 8 people that tested. Only 2 were actually still there.
She fired a bunch after a fit about some online stuff in late 2017. As it turned out, had nothing to do with them.
Coffee shop girl is real. As Kitty once said, mind blown. Name withheld. Kitty finally confirmed it. As far as we know. She is the wife of the second Kitty.
Well, we guessed that since they wouldn't have stopped dating just because Kimmy demanded it in a fit once. I was one of the prep people who had since rejected the cult. I've also been harassed by the masters afterward, even years later via late phone calls.
A previous 2011 master testing turned into a PR nightmare when nobody formally at the school showed up, and they hired 20 or so fake martial arts students to pad the seats. The staged bucket footage that finally had been released in 2013 was old and from a 2007 demo. Stargazer Estates was not the cult. They had been using the name as a front for years. The mansion was sold because they lost their dough box on the old cylinder building they rented for millions. I'm one of the moles, Joe, and I say it was ironic that my business sense kept the Milpitas one going for years, but in San Jose and Fremont without me it didn't. Kimmy, now 72, attempted to keep secret affairs with high-level students like AG, but in the 2008 settlement, when she was 62, she got nothing, or very little, and attempted to sue him. He also got nothing or very little and chose to start over.
At the time, AG was in his middle 30s during the affair. The woman in her 60s.
Her ex added that she was not the only one screwed. Kimmy had been running such relationship scams literally from the beginning of the school in 1985.
Some of them were almost arranged marriage scams, and some of them were successful in the sense that she married off her elites.
No master should be arranging marriages of her instructors to her students. Even one of them is my stepfather and mother. Although the website still claims the academy's in Fremont, it is not. The cell number is one of the instructors, and he still pretends it's open. Maybe he hopes that anyone calling will go there. Asking them about the New Mexico real estate problem of 2007, we would get nasty looks from them. Also, Arizona, Canada, and other sites were mentioned.
The one called Broxy was just AES. She's possibly still in. She was cleverly using a proxy server to pretend to be operating from the Milpitas area. She actually is in Fremont. Blackie was someone named Hope or Joy, or someone pretending to be. COL loves to change names.
The settlement in 2008 was for an undisclosed amount, but since they broke it off, the amount was about $5 million. The asking price of the sale of one of her Fremont buildings in 2013. Interesting. Scott and Michael might have been in charge of the biggest scam ever to dupe their leader out of untold money. None of the online sites make any profit from outing these people, contrary to rumor, and the actual COL and TMS sites get barely any ad revenue, even by cheating using algorithms.
Kit Filet and OK Dragon and Helikitty K were ultimately the fantasy of Sack, and some of her students, to make it look like ex-students were posting more, because she had been banned from Bullshito and wanted to make them sorry.
Blackie or Broxy was merely her friend, AS using her own student allies. Who knew such things? Neither did anything but spread disinformation about the school. It did not help their cause. Kitty 4 was one of Sack's people, and one of AAS's. She left. She took all that info with her. She's now unmarried, has a little dog, and a broken-down car, and lives in Fremont. Yes, Albray is gone. We're seeing events far forward in time, or leading somewhere.
It appears that the College of Loonies, or City of Light people, have moved to near Medford, Oregon, last holdout of the Lighthouse Company.
And as you might know, Michael has moved there, and claimed he would never post again. It is not the first time he said that, and posted again.
You went somewhere else, to an undisclosed location, and have been operating there as an occasional blocker. Most of the cult-associated YouTube channels are dead on arrival today.
Since the outing of Sack and Ace, they have stopped posting unless it's on Twitter or Facebook. But it is not on YouTube anymore.
Oh, by the way, that's internet outing and not sexuality outing.
Yeah, our mother is definitely straight.
Your resistance is futile. We're still in, even though they started this mess. Oh, and I just reported from Fremont, where I was visiting the Albray School. It's toast. It's done. Finished. It's behind the second Walmart in town. The school people of the Martial Sportiest still say that their website from the school is opened and located in Milpitas, San Jose, and 2 in places in Fremont. Not one of them is opened.
Maybe someone is there, but they would doubtlessly never let Jules go in, huh? Milpitas, 1985 to 2004. San Jose, 2004 to 2007. Fremont 1, 2008 to 2013. Fremont 2, 2014 to 2018.
Medford coming in 2018. The thing about Oregon is they don't take kindly to California people breaking into their market. No.
But it is the state of a serial killer from back in the day, as was Cali, so why not a little old cult? He can do, they can do, why not Kimmy?
Better not get her any ideas.
They claim other awards in 2018 and 2019 and have a Lighthouse blog now, but it's boring and hasn't been updated in 3 years.
Some PR. Maybe they should hire me. Ha ha! No thanks.
It seems harmless enough. But give them an inch and it'll turn from questioning and then into drama.
I don't really think Dr. Kim is doing this. It's her younger sycophants, and she's probably beneath going to that extreme anymore. But they're not young, they're middle-aged and know better.
They know it's not any of the kid students today, as that would be wrong. It's all old-school adults that know better, ranging in ages from late 20s, when they were in COL's last official class, and those up to their mid-50s. Why do they care about what we're doing? The IT guy wondered.
This is not so. You're all trying to discredit our dear leader. You're all naughty students.
Did Scott put you up to that, my ex?
Oh, I didn't realize. It's like a family reunion here. The Talisman family reunion. How cool. I'm honored.
I can't believe they don't remember you to TMS, Jay. You must have been erased from their memories, like some sort of superpower or the MIB movie. So now they accept a net presence as long as it's passed through the Grandmaster. Also, I called the Taekwondo Federation, and they had no idea how there could be a great Grandmaster in martial arts. The IT guy said they used to humor her, I guess. Well, he's probably not aware of the students making up this junk for her anymore. She's well over 73 as of 2018. It's a cult. They need to get over it.
Several weeks later, the present day, I was just down to Albright Street after Technology Place, because I knew Minas Court was gone. Technology Place is now occupied by a swim academy, and has nothing to do with TMS. But Albright TMS is claiming it's somehow inside Walmart.
It's not. The old site there was just behind Walmart.
It's now a car dealership stockyard. The telephone numbers still go on to someone's cell, where they tell you it's still open. How can they possibly be running an establishment? Also, who's the wise guy who went on the AC Action site for martial arts and posted a picture of me and my ex-black belt? What the hell? We haven't been there since 2015. The only reason I got that was sucking up to the boss and doing odd jobs. Nothing salacious, but terminally boring. I can also confirm that the poster called Rhonda was right, and she was there when I was. Maybe I'm biased. The audacity of them pretending to still have online websites, and still be at Albray, but like ninjas you cannot see them. It's hilarious.
The car place looks like the Minas one, though. Kind of sketchy. That's right beside a furniture store, one of those fly-by-night ones that's gone after mega sales in a few months, and will reopen under new management. Curious to know where they've moved to, because Medford isn't even listed anywhere but on their own sites. The LWS is there, but not the school.
The year 2019 is almost over, and very little new has come out of the College of Looney's cult since the 2017 move from Fremont. Bemused was not correct. The building she thought was Lighthouse was just a sign left over on an old building. They have no Milpitas presence. They're also gone from San Jose of Orchard Parkway, and have been gone since 2007.
The Bullshido blog that started in 2005 has given the views to thousands of online people on the machinations of the cult. Scattered stories about the cult. A lot of them my reposts are online, but most are copies.
So really, since my official leaving in 2015, there hasn't been a whole lot. Also, that picture was of my friend and not me, as it turns out. We look something alike. They removed it. Someone is paying attention. Yeah, they referenced me here. Someone last year has asked for names, which you cannot give out. Clearly, I'm not Jody. But today I found out that in January this year, Kim posted reviews of her books, directly referencing them, but not the negative hype, as it didn't exist yet.
When you watch them on YouTube, it looks as though these videos were done during the early years of the internet. How can I tell? She looks like she's 50 or 60 years old and still fully alert and in her prime. I would say they were made in about 2000.
They wouldn't have mentioned anything about it as of yet non-existent ex-student backlash. Also, I looked more carefully at the old Bay Area Cult Sites article on the TV crew and noted that at the end, the author admits that he did not get contacted by the studio after they did it once. They did to my brother. He talked and spilled the beans.
They ended up not using any of it. I suppose that's why we're here, to spill the beans to them. Those old self-help books were not bestsellers. They never were, because Kim could not have paid off the bestseller lists back in the day. She was not that rich. Granted, she was rich, but not that rich. The facts indicate the first book from 1994, 7 Steps, was a local Bay Area bestseller, but the article was written by them. More of the same. COL may still be using weird spam calls and old phone records to harass former students.
The online sites are all retreads of older stuff, and oddly there's nothing from the aftermath of the heavily edited 2018 video series, which had clips from the 2017 black belt testing. No idea who's running their online channels. It's weird. But they can't just bring up the cult now. It would be disastrous.
This is only spam. They cannot send you to COL site. And is Newark or Walmart their new digs? That's silly. This is during the space plague, when they had reduced hours at the surviving school in Fremont.
You heard that right. 2020 was insane. Reduced. The web pages for the cult are still up. and claiming there are simply reduced hours, as you can still go to the academy and work at the company, but it'll be a limited capacity. Allow some elaboration. The virus of 2020 is a flu-like pandemic currently sweeping the planet, with cases in the valley, but mostly in other states, and most noted in China, the Middle East, Korea, various island nations in Europe, and other parts of Asia. It has claimed tens of thousands worldwide and thousands in the U.S. In the U.S., there had been some states of mandatory lockdown and stay-at-home, which means that most businesses, including computer companies, mall shops, martial arts schools, gyms, and the like, have closed, even libraries. The actual class and masters are probably exposed. As a health club deal, they should all be indoors at COL Fremont and not going out, or the one at Newark, or the like. They should not be encouraging anyone to come visit the school located in Fremont, unless the school is now bogus, and they haven't been there in weeks. The school is not located in Walmart in Fremont. The store was open, was just there yesterday. They're not inside the store.
It had limited hours. It only stocked essentials. COL is not an essential. Do the right thing, COL, and shelter in. Make up blogs about how you are so mistreated by the net.
You can even claim you only hoarded stuff beforehand because it was energy. I'll bet.
Well, there was a period where Kimmy decided that she wanted to find religion around 2007 to 2014 or so, and would do videos near churches and at masses and synagogues.
It was kind of strange. Probably a direct reply to the bullshit of stories about her cult practices. Many of the videos posted on YouTube, but many are gone. She was very concerned about the bad PR from Bullshito, and there were many meetings about the ex her students back then.
They would never post on the site under aliases.
I did. I was TMS student.
Not very original. Anyway, there would be spiritual moments at churches, or with candles and at events.
I'm not sure what faith Kimmy was before then, but she claimed Christianity and knew something of the Bible.
It didn't seem to occur to her that some of the practices would seem cult-like, or if it did, the larger student body knew nothing of COL and its inner machinations.
Bad PR.
In the end, it was not the bad PR that brought it down, but their own hubris and some of the Xers leaking about the affairs and scandals, pyramid sales scams, and shady deals that did it.
Students were privy to some of them back in the day when they got sloppy. They got them a spot on Inside Edition in 1998. But, like her political parties, when it suits her at a given function to have a candidate in the voting season, if he gives her money somehow, it's dubious she'd found Catholicism in the middle 2000s. At the same time, the Knights of Space also give her money, so she was into them too. Heck, I was in their PR back then and told them advertise new stuff, and they wouldn't listen, as Vince were fine, insisting on the older stuff was better. They're all getting up there in age and long-time training issues and don't look good on camera anymore. Surely the younger set in those demos could do some of the PR, but they're afraid that they'll go online and learn too much, and then decide to quit.
I tell you, a new demo or testing with some breaks is a lot cooler than some 20-year-old ice-breaking video on a grainy VHS camcorder stock. And I can confirm that the Time and Place show was no show. Only a dozen paid-for episodes. You guys thought it was longer, up to 20 episodes, but it was never that many.
The 2012 new Kyung-hee Kim show never appeared anywhere, although there is footage from it. Look for the old demos on the PR sites on YouTube that are dated from that year or older, such as those in 2011. The wedding breaking was from the pilot. It was filmed earlier. The Catholic episodes also went from the same pilot. COL News, yesterday, September 15th. On the TMS website that used to claim that the one Bay Area school that remained, the Albury one in Walmart, in Fremont, was closed permanently.
Well, they were never inside Walmart, as they were never allowed a martial art dojang in their store.
A car dealership entered the vacated spot from 2018 and might have been there as early as late 2017. So they've actually been gone since before the 2018 season, but claim they were not.
Members could publish fake subscriber bots to their pages remotely, and did. Now up to 80K. Ridiculous.
Many of the cult people moved to their Medford computer company, but there is no school there.
Given that the story is making us tell, it's about what happened to them. Recently, the pandemic caused the area schools of every martial art to close, but they were gone before that and never updated their site. The cult was still operating in 2017 under the table. The studio would put up occasional testing videos and schedule meeting events and show spliced in older footage.
In 2020, ex-student blogs posted that the school needed to put up an announcement that they were at least closed during the pandemic, and that it was still going on, and no sane person would keep a school running during one.
They didn't comply. In March, hours were only reduced. Now in September, someone updated the site with permanently closed over a red background. It would appear that the bloggers won, but only because of a pandemic. We merely observed this. We were not there when it happened.
MSJ here. Guru, you're endangering your company workers. Close down the LWS plant during the pandemic.
You might claim that you make masks, but we know you don't, and just buy them from outsourcing.
You are not an essential business. Please close down. You can keep the mask racket if you want, but all other employees, send them all home.
California has one of the highest rates of the pandemic. Do the right thing.
The money is not worth all the healthcare lawsuits that will follow when your people get sick. Let your people go. I just thought to comment since something like this got to them last spring. Your 5 or 6 board members can run it while you're away golfing or something. Also, you could endanger yourselves, being that you are an older person with health issues. It's a bad idea to stay open. They're not making PPE masks. That's their website again, making fake claims.
They claim they make particle monitors. That's all they ever really did.
The rest of their stuff is brought in cheap from somewhere else, and they put their name on it, of which they've been in trouble before for breaking patents. You can look up several lawsuits. They've been slapping their name on products for years. That is a fact.
That cannot be. There cannot be an operation with 3 students.
The Cato Road place is also confused for an older place when searching. Maybe they're not even on Cato anymore. Give them a call and see if you're transferred to someplace else. You will be.
They didn't even list their key board members until you go to their sites, and all of them are put up by the cult. They are connected directly to the cult.
They're the cult. Do not work for them, unless you're into that. And why the heck are they opened as an essential worker force during a pandemic? That's unsafe. Hello everyone, I'm Mrs. Tomat, number 2. Ex-Mrs. I had an affair with a Guinea. He was married to Kimmy. I do not regret it.
She's a tramp. Girls, stop that.
In the 1990s, the guru of the cult of COL began a class program that was aerobic erotic dance, romancercise, but we'll call it romance class for clarity. The class took place in 1996, about the time COL caught on as a thing. Why is this program or whatever so obsessed with that class? We broke it. Yeah, well, we helped. Tomat and his bestie really broke it. The third chief instructor, Tomat, was dating a student who was related to another student. The whole reason for the class to exist was to hide the fact by celebrating it in the open.
Not at all arranged. It's clearly a control thing. She kept the room in line, they're all happy.
Other instructors became paired with students and instructors. It was an act. The guru decided that since some COL and some non-COL TMS students asked about her control over relationships, that this would make it look like there was no such control by making a class devoted to coupling and intimacy. For the record, nothing happened between Holy Cat and me, just saying. The trouble for many of the students was that the guru lady improperly cast them as lovers. One such poster from Bullshito and other blogs had a long discussion with her former romance class partner, joking that neither of them had any chemistry at all. Then this man was paired with someone the guru didn't approve of. He did, and the session quickly ended.
Now, until around 2000. To think Kimmy tried to pay for a date in 95, only for 2000 to be in secret.
Holy Cat, please, it was just Discovery Weekend, and nothing happened. Except we, saw each other, in the buff, so to speak. And he was well endowed, even in the cold. Whoa.
And so were you, my friend. But Tomat was secretly seeing Kitwall here.
The ultimate result was a jealousy-filled disaster that, if it still was out there, would make a fascinating, messed-up video of what not to do at a martial arts school.
It didn't happen like that. Even though Karen and I did, at the time,
A later 1997 story that the guru made her male students swear not to engage in sex for threat of castration. That was a result of this botched class. Rumor has it, this may have been exaggerated. Many of the instructors had gone to the dark side and were having relations with the students. This was not so much about sex, but about power, and they were taking advantage of their authority. The rest led to the 1998 Expose edition broadcast.
many of the teen youth in Sewell didn't know about all this and liked romance class even though it was weird to us.
One such person was the girl who had chemistry with the male student, another one, and she commented that although they clicked, it was called off because they almost needed to get out a hose and wash them off.
That was you and Holocat, or possibly others. You didn't do anything. Years later, when you were of age, well, maybe first base. Rumor has it.
Oh, definite maybe. We have the same birthday, and he was so sweet on me. He even wrote a song about me.
So did I, but it was not to be.
But it would have never worked out because Scott would have been stepdad, and that would have been weird.
I think you mean in-law, but oh well, I get it.
Tomat, who was dating the student, ended up breaking this off when most of their footage was bad, and the odd power trip became evident.
The class did not engage in actual sex. The form-fitting jumpsuits were truly gay. According to one student who was gay, the suits were covering their private parts, so there was no actual contact. It amounted to a feel-up with aerobics.
Copyrighted music was used, which would not have been a bad thing before the internet, so that wasn't one of the reasons it failed. The videos were all destroyed, and there were no recordings of this thing out there, except possibly for the one in the instructor's possession. That was not the only reason, so as Tomat broke up with the lead girl too. Also, it became evident that the third highest male instructor was paired with the third smartest PR student, and they would be married later, so it worked out for them. Yes, despite her denial on this bullshito, it was totally arranged. Was the then divorced lady with the kid there? Yeah, she was there. She was not paired with the guy she fooled around with, and had no chemistry with the one she was with either. It was a total disaster. One for the history books. It taught them not to mention private lives, and a no dating rule was developed. But this too backfired. They didn't need a no dating rule. We instructors needed one, but not the students. But as for the former one said, where's the fun in that? Yes, indeed, she would not be interested in you, sir, if you weren't an instructor.
Why, you brat! I think she was talking about me. Oh, you two. If only we'd figured that out.
He was a gentleman. He never did anything untoward, but they flirted like crazy after she was of age, all through the college years. It was cute. Also, at the time, the guru was sleeping with some of her special students, which kind of makes her a hypocrite.
By 2002, there were different rules for students, including for myself. You see, there was a friend. Nothing happened, of course. Newly minted black belts were discouraged from having relationships with students from class, even when no such thing was the case for some of them.
Ah, yes, the Star Wars girl. They balked at this, and they were ready. Being black belts. Some of their relationships worked, and others did not. The guru concluded that the internet posts were to blame for some relationships ending. No, guru, that's not what happened. The dumb advice happened. It was about control with her. She seemed to control relationships. It's a cult.
As we enter a new year shortly, according to another extra, it is pause to wonder why a dubious need is there still to post about the now legendary story. 13 years have passed since the cracks in the Sewell story really showed, and then things went downhill from there. With a flood of info from an aggregate martial arts site, 2005 to 2007.
Shouldn't we all be happy we're still not there?
Should we keep posting as though there's something more to tell? Is there? Are we just being ignored so we want to be in it again, or successful? Were we all duped? Did we not like the platitudes? And then did we not drink the Kool-Aid, so to speak?
The story had started when the school was at the height of its San Jose location, and the guru recently promoted to great-great-grandmaster, which we can argue is honorary.
They do not have ranks like that. They do not have such ranks in Taekwondo. But that's not it. But we Xers were just jealous, they'd say, and did not understand the energy. That can't be it. We were quite shaken by revelation.
We had so believed in the musings and dogma we didn't see it and were blinded by it.
The 5 thieves had taken us. We still see people we knew still in, and only recently given higher ranks, and wonder why it is that it took them so long to acknowledge them.
Not jealousy, regret maybe. Possibly we could have not foreseen any of this in the end. The horror stories mostly check out, including those from JS, and the other JH and SG, and PG and the rest. Only the loudest ones got to have their say in the forum, and then the others.
KK was a cry in the dark. He might have not trained and was living off his own reservations, and the fame of his instructor relative, who clearly fed him the info until his mother put a stop to it. He might have been jealous, or at least upset, that he never got to be black belt, and looked up to his relative. Maybe he thought it was the right thing to do at the time.
We need not go into where these sites were, or who was on which side. Picking sides is silly. Bottom line is, there was injustice at the school, and at the company, and it was not libeled to come out and whistleblow their bunk online. Even the COL insiders denied what happened, and got very mad when forced to type about how they were all wrong, and somehow they were defending their guru from evil former students. We were in those meetings. They happened. They surely did. The instructors were irked and went at length to track down the former students, even setting a trap at one point in the guise of special testing, around 2011, calling as many former students as they could. They had hundreds go through by then, but only about 80 still trained then.
It's weird and uncanny that they did as well as they did after the Milpitas years. I was part of the move to San Jose, that too. Once they'd failed San Jose and moved to Fremont, they did better in the later. I was there 18 years and left in 07.
And to celebrate, things got interesting. If he was with another Trek girl, maybe. I know what we did, and I know what others did. They would hide the COL meetings and not expose so much of their stuff online. I was the voice of Cult Master. They had a lot of off videos they deleted. BS and CM would notice them and print them until CM was closed. And you were also part of our site, Cult Slayer Us. There were thousands of Xers, not hundreds. Several of the students formed an aggregate of their own, Frog and Scorpion, in the middle 2010s, to discourage young students from posting at all. In reprisal, C and a small amused staff of Xers assembled OKD to combat it, and CSU, SD. Well, because, damn it, KK wanted to keep being popular, no matter the cost. KK was banned from SNS within months, and made up several fake names, and reappeared as a fake student online, which was not cool. We told him to stop that. It was not helping.
But it was. No Google search would be complete without finding the school and the cult associated with it.
No, malfunction. By 2016, you literally could type in the guru's name and find a cult associated with it. This drove COL up the wall to the point of breaking. It decimated board meetings, where the guru and her people would freak out. It got several key players fired for no reason other than she got paranoid. None of them posted behind her back. By 2018, they were coming out of the woodwork, posting stories of how they only reached Greenbelt after years, or they'd been creeped out, or various sales scams went south, and they ended up with a load of garbage.
She was like a diva then, and could do no wrong, and was given many awards, while even TV stations refused to do an update on Inside Edition, because hey, she's not really that big. She may have had thousands of people touched, but the maximum company body was no larger than 500, and only dozens controlled by the day-to-day operations, and the school that closed at Albray closed with only 30 students.
Heartfelt cries for help appeared from women wronged by her online former students she trusted, and justice came to them when they left. They finally got out. It thankfully never became the Moonies or Jonestown or anything. A tiny little cult that changed the world. They did have a demo last year at the Newark Pavilion of no relation to the Fortress site that was involved in some sort of fire incident. Also, the mansion was not involved in any incident of that type.
Whoever is running the PR bot sites and farms of bot cookies for the TMS site has accidentally posted pictures of random cycles through testing cycles of various students, even former ones. They would remove the ones that former students have told to.
It's not as nefarious as one might think. Nobody's checking.
They're in quarantine somewhere and their web guy is gone on hiatus and hasn't bothered to change some algorithms so there isn't some weird connection where none exists. Naturally, the Newark Pavilion would not play host permanently to a martial arts school. It was only a demo. It's odd, though, that the phone number is the Pavilion, with a rather dumbstruck answering person who was puzzled when we checked up on it. Also, the COL palace called Stargazer was not actually sold for $5 million, or even 11, as numbers were switched by, you guessed it, their PR people, trying to make it look like a sale occurred. That never did. They might as well have removed the decimal again and said $55 million. The house is still up for sale, but it has been sitting there for over 4 years and is starting to decay. It's more likely the asking price of $11 million will not be met, and it will be sold for the lot, not for parties and business events, as it claims on the real estate page.
It's more likely, according to similar such deals online for mansions of that type and the grounds, that would have to be demolished and rebuilt. If you have millions, and none of us do, you can surely afford to rebuild it from scratch. The Grifter School continues. Someone has set up shop for the martial arts cult in the Newark Pavilion at the City Pavilion Center. Some serious fakery. They cannot have a spot in the pavilion, and only to show a demo or rent a space or something. So also near the old tech place was bought over by an Xer, La Palma, and is now an MMA parkour school. They're allowing bots from TMS to show up on their site. They're not related, except that their leader is an Xer, and the guru doesn't mind. You know what? It's hilarious. They combine new pics of cherub children with old ones from before the first uniform change, over 18 years ago, and one of them has me in it. So they're allegedly in an event center some weeks ago, presumably spreading the disease to the chillins, their grandparents, and anyone else.
The pandemic continues. We're permanently closed, and that means closed. They have pulled back on some of the claims about PPE. That's LWS, though, making up stuff. Not unusual. The parents need to be notified if they use their kiddies in ads. You should know that.
The pavilion event, or whatever, needs to not happen. Social distance. At least the parkour place is outdoors.
Oh, and the Stargazer was back on the market after the 2019 fires, but off it after the 2020 fires. I wonder if maybe the hillside's a mess now, and the house was lost value. I don't know, though. Briefly, in 2019, it sold for $5.5 million.
The house is irrelevant. We have not been there for years. Stick to what you know. Resistance is futile. Tilt. According to a very recent blog from Kitty creator Kitty, his old journals to the guru did indeed mention an incident in April 1997 that tipped off the expose of the cult later in 1998, and very well could have closed the school.
They were always trying to get student journals in order to tailor class and to get dirt on the others. But there was this one incident where they claimed a former student was assaulted, who was in fact never assaulted, according to that very student.
This was a cover-up at the cult side, to hide the fact that all of the instructors were considering quitting after one of the guru's angry hissy fits that had happened over some of them being too horny.
You can read all about the real incident on Bullshito, but for years it was believed that there was nothing to corroborate the story, the infamous April 1997 incident, until now.
It was a control tactic, as she did not intend for the male instructors to actually cut off their private parts, or leave her. But it would have been far more interesting if they had left. Kitty said that were he there, he would have quit. He only became an instructor years later, and it was not common knowledge. The story wasn't revealed until 2007 on Cult Member.
Contrary to rumor, though, romance class or romancercise back in 1996 was several months before the hissy fit and loyalty test. So they were not related. Kitty called it erotic yoga and pathetic because no chemistry. But it didn't lead to April 1997.
So she would encourage a horny yoga class one year and then berate them for being horny the next.
Kitty stayed there despite knowing it was cult-like, even as far back as 1998, and eventually attained a black belt, and contrary to stories was indeed part-time in the COL program, off and on, but not living in the property.
They had nothing on him. He left in 2007, and was not alone leaving, and returned infrequently for a year before disappearing from the cast. He cited in the blog back problems, as many others had, and left.
Bullshitto was not discovered until much later, and his origins remained there for all to see. So we need to go there. He only went there because he thought they were spreading lies about him. It turned out another kitty key was the target, but he never once posted, even though they claimed he did. The alleged student assault incident, also in April 1997, was debunked in 98, when Kitty Key and others from TMS encountered this former student, whom the guru claimed was involved, and he said he had no idea what the guru was talking about and was disturbed. Now, if only the cult just come clean and said nothing that evening, or it wasn't a cult, all of that would be moot. But this was where the cracks in the armor started. Kitty Key did say the absence of evidence is not evidence. However, the cover-up is evidence, when the witnesses weren't involved in the cover story. Even so, eyewitnesses are faulty.
You know, you should have been an investigative reporter. In the end, they will never fess up to the hissy fit incident of April 1997, but we know, and frankly, it doesn't matter anymore. It's just another silly COL night gone wrong.
The ex-student said, "I would appreciate it if you would know the cover-up. Kitty Key did not include it until getting permission to send it to us this morning, 24 years later."
This is confusing, but I get what's happening. The aliens that put this up are testing us, and want to see if we're worthy or friendly or not. We must play along and keep going.
Babe, you think it must be aliens? But which ones? The Borg people aren't doing much.
The assimilation didn't take as planned, as if they're from a crash site or something. They're not in the collective. It has never been proven, but there allegedly was a marriage breakup as a result of the self-discovery weekend getting too intense, and the female student being too flirty, and another student, and a non-training student, quit, and then divorced his wife, who trained. I am Clarity. It has never been proven. No DNA test was ever taken. That said, it is a weird set of coincidences. The girl who is Clarity's senior, but not much older, is also my senior, and had a birthmark in the same place on her shoulder that the alleged man did. This proves nothing. A lot of marriages were decimated by one of them or more being in COL. A birthmark proves nothing.
Did an instructor warn a new black belt not to date a younger student, and what happened? The Star Wars girl story, that happened a lot. But if you're referring to the two Star Wars fans, they were never an item. The girl was the same age as his nephew, and they would all three appear at times. And they used to train too, but the instructors got paranoid when they had natural chemistry.
Did some Xers have rendezvous with each other after training to make COL jealous? Not to make them jealous, but yeah, they met, but nothing happened.
Did instructors plant a dirty magazine on a young COL student to later berate him and teach him a lesson in class? Yes, one of them gave the student the magazine. Guess you wouldn't trust that instructor after that.
Did the guru arrange marriages and gaslight students, even so far as putting one out in the rain once, and another in a ridiculous fasting diet to get another one's mind off it? Yeah, that happened in COL. Did the guru clandestinely marry one or more of her junior students, and complain that the other students should control their dating habits, but the other instructors she had were exempt? Yeah, I was shagging a Guinea, but Kimmy was already separated from him. She was just still jealous. After she'd done questionable medical things for both of us to clear up later. Heh. This led to the creation of the Cult Master and the other sites years ago. Why would anyone ever join COL today? I have no idea. It would be impossible to hide behind their secrecy.
In 2022, it was the year of the tiger. It is now the year of the rabbit. But a year ago, this happened. Belated birthday tidbits.
In 1946, the guru was born 76 years ago. My, how time flies. It was the year of the dog. Now is the year of the tiger, where it was. She was born in the lunar near year. I'm not really an astrology fan. Happy birthday to Dame Commander Dr. Great Grandmaster herself, lol. I have not been talking much to Kitty or the others about the school, have not updated in months. Despite the implications of the unholy alliance some years ago, nothing untoward happened. I did not have any interest in Nagini. Must discuss the bizarre rumors of an ex-friend's parentage, because that's messed up COL.
See, they spread a rumor that her mother's marriage broke up because of the energy, and she was unfaithful by sleeping with another student. But that never happened.
It started with some confusion about the weekend retreats, and some instructor hooking up. When it wasn't the mom lady, it was me and someone else. It got conflated. No, Kitwall, it was not me. In fact, joining COL is what ended my previous marriage. Not an affair. and happily remarried and out of the cult a long time. It was not her, but some other student lady who had a kid and a previous marriage. But we're not telling which one, as that is messed up.
An Xer in Holocat passed along an interesting story about the Saving Private Ryan movie. When, like other movies, the guru thought that she was in it, because wars. Oh, that's okay, Holocat. She didn't appreciate being corrected that she'd been born 1 year after World War II and was a baby boomer and didn't understand what that meant. Nobody mentions her late ex, Mark or Art. He was still her husband in the late 80s. When they came to Cali, they got divorced.
According to another ex-COL, she took this out on any married couples within COL when she got into a mood. She took it out on them when she got a divorce? Imagine that. Take it with a grain of rice, though. The Xer is not fond of the cult. It does go to explain why she loathed pairings within COL, especially if they weren't sanctioned. No, I never hooked up with an Xer instructor after being at the cult. That'd be insane.
No, Bullshito was officially closed. The now 3-year ended. Looking for ex-Martial Sportiest students blog. But that means locked. You can still read it. All 4,000 pages are there. And no, you were never inside Walmart in Fremont or living in the Pavilion in Newark. Ha! At last, the Grand Orion of the Knights of Space of Keptera have come to judge you and find you unworthy. Prepare yourselves. The biggest letdown from the years-long adventure of that during the Bullshito, they never did prove, one way or the other, that there was a settlement for the mysterious AG case. Sure, they ran some guesses. And no, I know he was never posting on Bullshito, and tried to tell them that. They wouldn't listen. He had to somehow be the mastermind behind it all. Kitwell, ironically, was. And the real guys behind it were in plain sight, not hiding at all, but under obvious aliases. Former YSN members. No, I never had an affair with JMS or KSS, nor did we have a love child in 1990 or so. Ha! The guru assumed we did. Ha! I don't even think we ever even went beyond a polite hug at a dance.
Well, that was at one time, but it was after the retreat by several years. And no, it was only a kiss. But what a kiss.
Even so, I also got weird divorce papers and weird summonses from COL fake lawyers in the 2014 period. I already was, so I was like, okay, whatever. Yep, COL, I can confirm most of the COL stories involving weird diets, being isolated, some having arranged marriages, and one time getting the anklet of string once.
The timeline is fuzzy, but off and on there was a bunch coming and going, and we would return to help at events after we left.
I'm here and I'm Slayer. The 2011 testing story is true, all of it. It was pathetic. They had to hire in fake students to fill the ranks. It was a testing Julie and her brother were also at, as was I, and can vouch.
The older relatives can confirm the earlier COL during the time of the arranged marriages to Kim took place and failed. Yeah, and she did not walk her talk. SE and AG, yep, it happened. Can't deny it. Just how is that good energy, if she can do it, eh? Huh, allegedly, let's say. I wasn't there. Not when it happened. The pieces came together via the wonderful threads of Bullshito, which explained why AG was up and suddenly kicked out in 2005. Oh, and Lighthouse Girl was in Fremont, not Medford, but she changed locations to throw off the trail. It was still obvious. All of that Operation Komodo Dragon stuff never happened. No Frog and Scorpion either. You guys did as much trending tricks as they did.
It's not likely that you guys are one person, as there's just too many differences in your writing styles. Unless you're the schizophrenic ex-student at one time. Oh, shizer.
Can't complain. We did that from LWS and the Academy back in the day. We posted on Bullshito a lot. And this one girl, SK, was quite aware of the hissy fits and meetings to discuss how to find ex-students. She was there, but we didn't come after you, though.
It has been pleasure slaying the cult all these years later.
It had been ages. We did have to drop some of the articles over the past couple of years out of respect for some of the former students who had moved and didn't want their names on the blog. The sites have all died down, once the postings in 2019 or so, and the closing of the last Fremont school, where a Newark location was briefly referenced on their Facebook until called on it.
They claimed that their new digs were inside a pavilion that is since disproven. But the school is not the cult. The cult merely operated outside the school.
The high-ranking members have all but stopped posting. Only the youth seem to still be there, having been indoctrinated into the thing without any reference to the net stories. This is mainly because they aren't allowed to have social media. I'm not sure who is in charge even there anymore. Mainly, one of the funniest old rebuttal blogs, way back when, since some of the former students and active ones made interesting claims. One of them, let's call her Terminator, she was claiming that bullshito blogs were never a topic with the COL people or in class.
Call me jammer. I claimed that I had been to the 2008 Christmas party then at Tech Place, where COL was present, and that Terminator was also there, and she was livid about bullshito.
She was one of them who brought it up. Also, others commented that they posted to make fun of former students.
They did not, however, claim they had to get even. It was more like they posted anonymously and thought it sneaky. It was merely lame.
In converse, let's call them the Slayers, the most allegedly adamant posters on late bullshito, and these sites too, in person, would not want to discuss the cult.
I am not the same Slayer as the Slayer family. I'm from the Starfleet ship. But they told me things. One and two occasions, they have passed by Kitty Key, and they would tell him, we don't want to talk about the cult, or let's not talk about the academy, or what we're concerned you're still in. And he'd not been in since 2008 either.
A female ex-student once remarked to us, "Oh, I was there when incidents happened," and they did. When it came to several stories from Bemused and JDMS, they were called, "I was there," and that stuff was crazy.
A recent book series alludes to a cleaned-up version of events from the cult, as allegedly penned by Hazel. That's what we'll call him. But it's embellished, and it's not actually what happened. It cannot be proven, according to his editor. Names have been changed.
Your version of Hazel, who my counterpart had chemistry with, in her part of the multiverse, also, but who really did not hook up with me in any way, events have been changed. None of it can be pinned down.
True, but we're from a different part of the Cillian multiverse. The only event that sort of can be is if there's a movie premiere or is mentioned. So don't take it literally. It's more like a diary novel series written down like decades later. He's bound to have remembered it wrong. And Hazel was never in COL. He was in part-time COL as a black belt, but not for long before he left in 2007. Also, he was allegedly not Kitty Key.
The editor then said, if you believe Kitty Key could have been just one guy, sure, he's one of them, but he's not a fillet. The editor is a fillet.
Another exer in the stories, fictionalized to avoid legal problems, have been a direct witness to the JDMS events, and who are suffering in the cult, and to the photo op mess-up, among other things. Let's just say Kimmy ordered her then boyfriend to be a total SOB. They had her out in the rain, fasting later, and begging to be let back in the cult. I don't know why she didn't immediately leave and go to the police, but she was stuck in a cult. She couldn't leave. None of them could have. They were victims. All started because of a hissy fit from Kimmy over loyalty, as Bemused called them.
We asked, when was that? And she said, about 20 years ago, 2002 to 2003. And yep, 20 years later, we can confirm JDMS was telling the truth. Regarding fake divorce summonses and fake harassing calls in the past decade, oh yeah, they happened. It was COL overstepping their power. It was usually directed at serious bloggers, though, who had said something they thought was mean to Kimmy. It was hardly ever someone they could potentially pull back in. Said another we will call Joyful. Joyful also said Terminator lied. She was totally mad about posters on Bullshito making fun of Kimmy. She was a lot.
None of the fake summonses led to any actual divorce. Some of them weren't even married in the first place.
But the ex-instructor hubby story is bullshit. Even here, he's actually me the whole time. I never made it to instructor. I wasn't married to the second Kitty Key, for instance, as that would be gross. We're siblings. We're not from the Hillbilly Mountains. I made it to black belt. The cult appears to be done. You are correct, my brother. Stepbrother, still, we're not from the Hillbilly Mountains.
Well, letting it lie there, we're not going to check up at that pavilion again, or go to Medford. I wonder if they ever sold the mansion. I checked. Nope, they didn't. The bank got it. Oh well.
Have your fun for now, but the crowd will soon come through and get you, and then you will be sorry. Yea, Cinders and Karen are the last, and we will finally win. You will see Kimmy come soon.
I'm not here to destroy them, Angelica.
But your torment, we assumed you were dead.
That was the other Michael. That was the other Michael. Cillian Space did not revive him. Then another one died. Same thing. It's because the Dominion have formed an alliance with the Overlords. I haven't much time, I will confess. It has been so many years since this, and so much speculation, but now a retired witness to the whole thing has stepped forward. Yes, that thing, the reason Bullshido ever covered the machinations of College of Loonies and all their affiliates from 2005 to 2015, the case, that case. I stumbled across your site and assumed you were in the know. I also read some very curious comments from one of my NDA people, so I naturally had to investigate. But don't worry, I'm long since retired from this, and I was one of the prosecution on the case of LWS and COL versus AG, better known as Guinea. The statute of limitations of the NDAs expired in 2017. So this was very clever, the poster. So what do you want to know? Alright then, was AG, also known as Guinea, ever posting on bullshido.org? He wasn't posting there. Was the case or cases against him false or defamatory? Oh, extremely, with prejudice, which means there were more than that. Was he posting on other aggregate sites? He was posting on a site which was court-ordered to be removed. Cult member. Was he mean to his ex-wife or the accuser? Kyung-yi. The allegations against him were dropped in a court of law. They were proven false. How many COL people stood as witnesses to this? The CEO and most of her staff were witnesses, including me. They could not have been in the same room with the accused. It was not possible. He operated out of state.
We will not say where this was or where the other company was, for legal reasons.
Was there a settlement in 2008? No, not in this case. The accusers clearly were attempting to destroy the defendant. It was dropped with prejudice. The lawyers for the company refused then to show up, and repealed in another higher court, which was also dropped.
A countersuit indicated a patent issue that had nothing to do with this. It was just the CEO trying to milk money from AG, wasn't it?
I wasn't part of that case, Sandy. I don't know. What is all this about money? Pat, it's usually about money. That's the way it happens. So that gels what KB said years ago. Yes, RD. Going to assume he'd gone on with his life and stayed out of the spotlight.
Did acting members of the COL and LWS use company time to berate and harass ex-students?
Yes, it's in the cases. Kid. How do you know this? I was involved, Joe. I regret it. I advised them not to do that, as it was legally sketchy. If even one of those turned and sued for defamation, they'd be in for trouble legally.
The statute of limitations has expired on the whole thing, so in the end everyone loses.
Maybe some of the ex-students were trying to educate the masses, more than riff on them. Seems they were trying to help for the wrong reasons, but in your opinion, was it justified? The former employees and students have every right within free speech to post, so long as it's not defamatory. I see nothing defamatory about this site, for instance. It's an archive of those events.
The only paper I was ever served was a fake divorce summons.
Miriam, that's against the law. I take it the limitations have expired on that.
Yeah, it was a while ago. I wasn't even married then.
Was Bullshido responsible for their bloggers? No, according to the terms of service, they were not responsible for anyone posting. That is why, unlike the other site, they could not be removed. And Cult Slayer Us, it too was taken down. The first was mine. You closed that account yourself, not a court order.
You were good, but not in bad.
It was good that Operation Komodo Dragon disappeared. It was questionable. Yes, that was, but for clarity, AG got nothing, Kyung-yi Kim got nothing, and KK got nothing. We got nothing.
It's even libel. Nobody got anything.
It wasn't even hate speech. It was free speech. Testimonials of former students, like whistleblowers, are protected.
So we don't use real names. I think I started this just shy of 21, huh?
Nadia, you and yours are clever and decent sleuths. Too bad you never went into the business.
No. I have you now. You have all defamed me, and for disloyalty, you will be humiliated. Ha ha.
This is being broadcast to all of TMS and whatever's left of it. You should have just accepted the show trials on the other planets and left, Great Grandmaster.
Except she's not your Dr. Grandmaster Kyung-Yi Kim. I am Ariana Piedmont, not your former master, and I free you of this test for now. You may return to your lives free of the cult. Abracadabra, alakazam, shazam, poof.
Well, that was nauseating.
Like a COL class. They let us go, so where do we go from here?
I don't know, but I've had enough of COL for a while.
Welcome to Far Out. We're really not the bad guy ones. We're Odo's group.
Well, then why did you hold us here? It is us. We wished to study you.
Cillians. All along, it was Cillians. I bet even Holocat, your friend, wasn't Holocat.
No, I'm actually Holocat in the flesh.
He's one of those changelings, is he?
No, Sandra. He registers as completely human. I see the family resemblance, my twin brother from Cillian space. If you were from Cillian space and Michael died, why did that happen? He wanted to leave the show. He didn't want to be part of it anymore. So we let him. Calahazel, Holocat, what's going on? This version of Jody and this version of Sandy liked you. Why don't go have a little fun with them? Why would I do that? Just to piss off the COL people?
Oh my god, it's her. Who? Oh. I am bemused. I think we should let these Xers enjoy themselves here on Far Out. Don't you? I feel like they're trying to hook us up here.
Well, I'm me and you're you. It might be fun once, just for the road.
Well, I'm going to abstain for now, because I'm married and have a kid, so I will bow out.
No, that's fine, Nadia.
Oh, I wanted to see. You've seen too much already, trust me. Oh yes, and by the way...
Where'd you send them, bemused?
Oh, back to their respective fun places. They're fine. They'll be just fine.
I just figured it out. You're the cat's partner in that romance class, weren't you?
Yes, it's true, but we had no chemistry. Zero, in fact. I liked Clark, but the thing is, they almost ruined it. And that amuses me. But then again, those two got together. But it was all on board, nothing happened, but they did kind of ruin that night. That amuses me. It never aired.
A lot of things amuse us, but let's leave them to contemplate their existence.
Father, shoo, go away. Well, she's in her early 40s now, it's probably all right. But weren't you with that rumbly girl in the other story?
That was my Cillian brother. He was.
Oh, that is confusing.
So you made black belt before I did, by a little over a year.
And you beat me to second-degree black belt, but I never had one of those.
I had sort of back problems, but I'm all right today.
Care for a little free sparring then?
Sure, but we're way out of practice. I didn't ask you if you were seeing anybody.
Shut up. Spoil the moment.
No.
Shut up. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. What is it? I was just observing the cuteness, that's all. Mom, go. Over 40 years old, go away. All right. All right.
She cued the words. Dun, 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 dun.